it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I hope that you enjoy this video and that you check out some of the other ones I've done in the past. Today, I wanted to do something just for fun. I talk a lot about writing on this channel, but you know, I love reading and I thought it would be fun to approach sort of like my TBR for the year as more of a project pan. If you're not familiar with a project pan, basically, as far as I'm aware, it started in the beauty community. Basically for people that were overwhelmed with their makeup collections, they would commit to specific products in their collection and using those up. And it's one about really getting the most out of the money that you spent, but more importantly, it's about enjoying what you have rather than like spending money on new things. And a lot of the time it's associated with a no buy. So, you know, you'll commit to maybe you won't buy, you know, foundation, or maybe you won't buy lipstick or whatever for the year or the month, whatever. But where I'm coming from this year with the books that I own is that it's not that I don't want to spend money on new books. It's more that I want to read what I own before I spend money on new books, because I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed with all of the books that I want to read and that I own, because I'm always bringing in new ones. Or even if it's getting it from the library, it's still something that's taking, you know, the place of a book, reading a book that I already own that I've been wanting to read for a long time. And of course, it doesn't really help that I'm a pretty slow reader. So that's the other thing that I really want to get better at, reading books faster. All that being said, basically my project pan for 2020 is I've gone through my whole collection of books and picked out the ones that I haven't read, that I've had the intention of reading, and I'm going to prioritize these over any new books, or at least that's the plan. So by the end of 2020, I hope to have read all of these. Okay, so the first book I'm going to talk about is actually a book on writing, and it's called Strangers to Superfans by David Gaughran. I probably am pronouncing his name wrong, and I feel bad because this was actually one of the presenters at my writing conference this year. I just can't remember how to pronounce his last name. But he did a panel on Amazon and marketing on Amazon. And I believe, if I am remembering correctly, he used to work for Google, I want to say. So this one is about, it's a marketing guide to the reader journey. So just some of the bulleted points that it talks about are: learn the 5 stages in the reader journey, identify where your blockages are and how to fix them, optimize each stage to increase conversion, boost sales by making the process more frictionless, build an army of passionate readers who do the selling for you. So he had a couple of books. This was the one that I felt was most relevant to me right now. But if I like this one, I'm definitely excited to pick up the other one that he had, at least at the conference. And he writes fiction as well. The next book I have in my project pan is a fiction book, and it is called Spinning Silver. And this is one that I've had in my book collection for a while now. So basically this story is a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin, and I know that it's a lot different. I was reading some of the reviews. It's very different from Rumpelstiltskin. That's basically just the initial concept. But I heard from the reviews that it was really empowering and just a lot of really positive things. And of course, I love fantasy. I've always loved Rumpelstiltskin. If anyone else watched fairy tale theater, let me know in the comments, because I think that would be awesome. I would love to talk about it. But this is a little bit of a longer book, so I'm kind of intimidated by it. It's got, let's see, 466 pages, which to some people that might not seem like that many, but to me it's a lot. I don't really typically read like huge, like epic, I don't know, I read Sarah J. Maas. How long are her books? But yeah, I don't know. I might try to get some of my thinner books out of the way first, just so I can feel better and kind of start the year off on the right foot. The next book I have is, I guess it's like a dystopian novel. It is Early Riser by Jasper Fforde. And this is another novel that I got in my Book of the Month subscription box. I thought it was a really cool concept. Every winter, the human population hibernates. During those bitterly cold 4 months, the nation is a snow-draped landscape of desolate loneliness, devoid of human activity. You are investigating an outbreak of viral dreams that you dismiss as nonsense, nothing more than a quirky artifact born of the sleeping mind. When the dreams start to kill people, it's unsettling. When you get the dreams too, it's weird. When they start to come true, you begin to doubt your sanity. This one is, let's see. This is another longer one, not quite as long as Spinning Silver. This one is 402 pages. Okay, so the next book in my project pan is Keeper by Kim Chance. So those of you that follow the AuthorTube community really closely, you will know who Kim Chance is most likely. And yeah, this was her debut novel. And I was really excited to pick this up because I was wanting to read it for a while. I'm really interested in, you know, I loved the series Charmed, and I like Legends and stuff like that. So I think that this one will be really up my alley. When a 200-year-old witch attacks her, 16-year-old bookworm Lainey Styles is determined to find a logical explanation. Even with the impossible staring her in the face, Lainey refuses to believe it until she finds a photograph linking the witch to her dead mother. After consulting a psychic, Lainey discovers that she, like her mother, is a keeper, a witch with the exclusive ability to unlock and wield the grimoire, a dangerous but powerful spell book. But there's a problem. The grimoire has been stolen by a malevolent warlock who is desperate for a spell locked inside it, a spell that would allow him to siphon away the world's magic. With the help of her comic book loving best friend and an enigmatic but admittedly handsome street fighter, Lainey must leave her life of college prep and studying behind to prepare for the biggest test of all, stealing back the book. The next book I have is actually the most recent book that I've picked up, and it's The Queen's Fool by Philippa Gregory. And so if you're not familiar, Philippa Gregory does a lot of historical fiction. She does a lot of books in the Tudor period in England. I really enjoy a lot of these historical figures, Henry VIII and all of his wives. I find that story so fascinating, and every time there's like a documentary or something about it, I always have to watch it because I am just obsessed. And I love, you know, Elizabeth and Mary, and then Richard III and Henry V, and I loved, of course, the other Boleyn girl, and I loved the White Queen miniseries on HBO. I was obsessed with that. It was so good. And if you don't know, those were actually based off of Philippa Gregory's books. So this will be my very first Philippa Gregory book, and I really hope that I love it. So I won't read the whole thing, but basically this is a young woman caught in the rivalry between Queen Mary and her half-sister Elizabeth must find her true destiny amid treason, poisonous rivalries, loss of faith, and unrequited love. This book is, wow, this book is the longest of them all so far. It is 500 pages. So, womp womp. I don't think I'm going to start with this one because, yeah, this is going to take some time. So, the next book I have is The Help by Catherine Stockett. And this is obviously what inspired the movie that most people are familiar with. This is one that I've had for a really long time, and always with the intention of reading it, and then other books just kind of got prioritized ahead of it. I think mostly because this looks really long. I actually haven't looked at the page count yet. It just looks like the longest thing that I have, and it's probably not. No, so this is 451 pages. I never saw the movies, and then when I picked it up, I said, well, now I have to read the book, so I'm definitely not watching the movie until I read the book. And so it's been years, and I still haven't seen the movie. Okay, so my next book is a science fiction novel, and this is The Antwone Legacy by Tracy Eisen Schaefer. So this is actually Tracy's debut novel. Tracy is a fellow Oklahoma writer like myself, and I actually met her at in a writer's group. So I was super excited to support her and read her debut. And I love science fiction. I talked about this in another video, but I am planning a science fiction trilogy of my own, and so I was really excited about this because I watch a lot of science fiction, but I haven't read a lot of science fiction novels. So that's definitely one of my goals, is to read more of that. So it says, Victoria Spencer isn't satisfied with her internship at the Air Force Research Laboratories, so why can't she stop thinking about a classified project that doesn't involve her? Unable to resist the pull the project has on her, Victoria breaks into the restricted lab where the project is located and finds a captured alien pilot. Fearing what the government might do to him, she helps him escape. But the extraterrestrial, Gage, has a secret. Victoria is the reason he's on Earth. As the pair flee from federal agents who seem to be backed by a force beyond Earth means, Victoria is drawn closer to Gage, his world, and his people. She soon realizes her life is no longer her own, and a hidden power lying within her could be the key to unlocking her destiny or lead to her destruction. And it says it's based on an ancient alien theory. So I'm really excited about this. This is, 378 pages. So we're getting under 400, which is a really good thing, because I need some shorter books to start the year with. Okay, we're coming up on the end now. So the next one, this is actually one that I'm currently in the middle of reading, and it is Wild by Cheryl Strayed. And I've heard a lot of really good things about this book from like influencers that I like to follow per their recommendation. And I think that this book is going to be a really good, like, introspective, like traveler-minded book, you know, because I love to travel, and I also loved Eat, Pray, Love. So I feel like I don't want to set up the expectation that it's going to be just like Eat, Pray, Love, but I think in that sort of style as Eat, Pray, Love. And if you don't already know, there is a movie starring Reese Witherspoon that is based on this book, which I have not seen, and it's another one of those, I decided I was going to read the book before I watched the movies. At 22, Cheryl Strayed thought she had lost everything. In the wake of her mother's death, her family scattered and her own marriage was soon destroyed. 4 years later, with nothing more to lose, she made the most impulsive decision of her life. With no experience or training, driven only by blind will, she would hike more than 1,000 miles of the Pacific Crest Trail from the Mojave Desert through California and Oregon to Washington State. And she would do it alone. Told with suspense and style, sparkling with warmth and humor, Wild powerfully captures the terrors and pleasures of one young woman forging ahead against all odds on a journey that maddened, strengthened, and ultimately healed her. This one is 311 pages, so the shortest one so far. So I think that this is definitely a great start to the year to finish this one off. Okay, and then to round out my project pan for 2020, I wanted to talk about my Jane Austen collection. I read her stuff when I was a little bit younger, and I've also seen most of these in film versions or miniseries, and so I tend to forget which ones I have and haven't read. I know for sure that I've read Pride and Prejudice, and I believe I've read Sense and Sensibility. So yeah, if possible, I would like to read all of these. I mean, I probably won't read Pride and Prejudice again since I've already read it. I believe I have read Sense and Sensibility, so I'm going to put that one last, and make sure that I've read the other ones first. The thickest one is definitely Emma, so I'm probably going to put that one at the end as well. The thinnest one is Northanger Abbey, I believe, or maybe it's Persuasion. Let's see. So Northanger Abbey is 220 pages, and Persuasion is 223 pages, so just barely longer. I don't know a lot about Northanger Abbey. I've heard some people say that they love it, but I know a little bit more about Persuasion, so I think I'm probably going to start with this one and then do this one shortly after. And then I'll probably read Mansfield Park after that because I really loved this movie. So I know that I like the story a lot. So I think this one will probably be my third one. And then maybe I'll read Emma after that. And then maybe Sense and Sensibility if I have time. Anyway, I feel like these books would be really fun to read around Valentine's Day. So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna start with Wild, like I said, since I've already kind of started it anyway. I'm gonna finish that one, and then I think I'm gonna move into Jane Austen. So those are all the books in my project pan for 2020. I just thought this would be a fun video to talk about what I'm reading and what my reading goals are for this year. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.